It's hard to believe that any dog could be labeled aggressive just for doing what comes naturally. But in this case, it actually happened to a French bulldog who was surrendered by her owners, simply because she tried to mount a female dog during playtime. If you ask me, this pup didn't deserve what was coming to her. And thankfully, there was a hero in this story who wasn't going to let an innocent dog be put down. This is the story of a French bulldog named Gidget. She lived with her owners in an apartment in Montreal, Canada. Despite living in a busy city, Gidget had a pretty boring life. Her days consisted of eating, sleeping, playing with her toys, and hanging out with her owner, Hugo. Even though they were best friends, Hugo couldn't spend all his time with Gidget. So like many other pet owners, he left his furry friend at home alone during the day. One day, Hugo left work early so he could surprise Gidget with a trip to the dog park. He knew how much she loved going there, especially since it was the only place she could socialize with other dogs. As soon as they arrived, Gidget went straight to the other dogs, wagging her tail excitedly. The two dogs Gidget wanted to play with most were Bella and Lucy. They were a pair of best friends who always played together. At first, Bella and her owner weren't thrilled to see another dog at the park, but when they noticed Gidget was friendly, they warmed up to her right away. For about 30 minutes, the three dogs ran around the park and played together. Gidget was having the time of her life until suddenly Bella approached her and started licking her private parts. Even though it made Gidget feel uncomfortable, she didn't want to ruin the fun, so she simply moved away. But Bella kept approaching Gidget and making unwanted advances. At first, Gidget tried to ignore her, but things got worse. Bella kept coming up to her and growling. Eventually, Gidget had enough. She tried to bite Bella to get her away, but it ended up backfiring. When Bella's owner saw what happened, she immediately took Bella away from Gidget. She then turned to Hugo and accused him of training his dog to be aggressive. Hugo was shocked by this. Gidget had never shown any signs of aggression before. But when he looked at Bella, he realized why people thought Gidget was aggressive. Bella had blood coming out of her mouth, and she was whimpering in pain. It was obvious that Gidget had bitten her hard. Even though Hugo explained that Bella had been harassing Gidget, the other owner wouldn't listen. She insisted that Hugo take Gidget home. In fact, she threatened to call animal control if he didn't leave immediately. Hugo didn't want any trouble, so he took Gidget home. He was furious at Bella's owner for accusing him of training his dog to be mean. When Gidget arrived home, Hugo gave her some treats and water, but she wasn't interested. Usually she would be happy to see him, but this time she seemed down. Over the next few days, Gidget continued acting strange. She was sad, anxious, and didn't want to do anything. Hugo was worried something was wrong, so he took her to the vet to get checked out. The vet gave Gidget a clean bill of health, which puzzled Hugo even more. He spent extra time with Gidget, trying to cheer her up, but nothing seemed to work. He felt helpless seeing his best friend so upset. Then one night, Gidget did something that made Hugo realize why she'd been so depressed. It was around 3 a.m. when Hugo was awoken by a loud bang. He got out of bed and went downstairs to investigate. That's when he saw something that made him feel terrible. Gidget had knocked over her water bowl and was sitting next to it, whining. It was clear that she hadn't meant to make so much noise. She was simply thirsty. From that moment on, Hugo was determined to make Gidget's life better. He knew the dog park had been the last straw for her, so he decided to keep her away from other dogs for a while. However, he quickly realized this wasn't a good idea. Gidget became extremely depressed. She stopped eating and spending time with Hugo. She just stared out the window all day, clearly wishing she could be outside playing with other dogs. Hugo felt awful for keeping her inside. He knew he needed to do something to save his dog from depression. He thought long and hard about what to do. Then he had a brilliant idea. He decided to get Gidget a companion, a dog who would become her new best friend. When Gidget heard the other dog barking, she perked up and came to the front door to listen. When Hugo opened the door, Gidget instantly ran to greet the puppy. She licked her all over and barked happily. From that moment on, the two dogs were inseparable. They played all the time and Gidget never seemed depressed again. However, little did Hugo know that Gidget's problems were far from over. Even though she had a new puppy to play with, she still missed Bella and the other dogs at the park. So one day, Hugo decided to bring her back to the dog park to see if anything had changed. At first, everything seemed fine. Gidget was excited to be back at the park, and the other dogs were happy to see her. But then Bella approached Gidget and started licking her private parts. Gidget was taken aback by this, but she didn't want to cause any trouble, So once again, she tried to avoid Bella. However, Bella kept coming up to her and growling. At first, Gidget tried to be nice, but when Bella kept bothering her, she bit her and ran away. When Bella's owner saw this, she screamed bloody murder. She ran over to Gidget and started scolding. "Hugo!" She said that Gidget had attacked her dog again, and that she was lucky she hadn't been seriously injured. She then told Hugo that he should have his dog euthanized, because she was too dangerous to be around other dogs. Hugo was furious at this, but he knew that if he argued, he would only make things worse. So he took Gidget home without saying a word. That night, Hugo couldn't stop thinking about what Bella's owner had said. Could she be right? Was Gidget too aggressive to be around other animals? He loved his dog and didn't want her to be put down, so he decided to seek help from a professional. The next day, Hugo took Gidget to see a dog behaviorist. The specialist observed Gidget and asked Hugo questions about her behavior. After listening to Hugo's story, the behaviorist told him that Gidget wasn't aggressive. She was simply being a dog. It's normal for dogs to lick each other's private parts and try to mount each other. It's just part of their nature. The behaviorist then told Hugo that he shouldn't let Bella's owner's words get to him. Gidget wasn't aggressive. She had only bitten Bella because she'd been harassed. However, the behaviorist also admitted that Gidget needed some work. She suggested that Hugo enroll Gidget in obedience classes, so she could learn how to behave around other dogs. With the help of a dog behaviorist, Gidget was able to learn how to socialize with other dogs. And even though there were some setbacks along the way, she eventually became a well-adjusted dog. As for Bella, she learned her lesson and never bothered Gidget again. To this day, Gidget is a happy and healthy dog. Thanks to the help of her owner and a dog behaviorist, she was able to overcome her problems and live a long, happy life. Gidget's story is a great reminder that we shouldn't judge dogs too quickly. Just because a dog does something we don't like doesn't mean that she's aggressive. With a little understanding and patience, most dogs can be rehabilitated. And I'm so glad that Gidget got the help she needed. If you agree, then please hit the like button. Thank you for watching.